Yeah, good morning to everyone who is joining us today for our webinar called Now or Never, a sneak peek into AI-driven experimentation. I still give you a few minutes to join the webinar. We just open it up, but I'd like to use the chance to welcome Jan and Andre. Hi, good to see you again.
Hello, Julia. It's good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Hi.
Yeah, it's only 2 weeks left until Growth Marketing Summit and until we meet in person again.
Yeah,
Yes.
true.
You're
Looking
excited?
forward to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, very excited.
same
Very
here.
excited.
Yeah,
So
and yeah, a huge thank you to you and VWO in general as a diamond sponsor of Growth Marketing Summit. So basically, without you and your contribution, the event wouldn't be the same. So it's a great pleasure having you. Thank you very much.
absolutely, can only
Thank
agree.
you. Thank you so much. I have one key question before we get started into the webinar, and a very important question. Will we have the drums again this year? Will we be drumming with
That's
700
big
people in the
secret.
room?
That's a big secret.
That's a
Oh
big
man,
secret. Big
You're not
secret.
that's
allowed to ask that.
Yeah.
Jan, we always need a few surprises left, right? I mean, we can't
true. True. It was
tell
amazing.
everything
It was
before.
amazing. We looked it up, and I just yesterday I showed it some colleagues that that's the most amazing gig that we've seen at any conference so far.
Oh,
But there was
Yeah.
also critical knowledge. People, critical feedback. People said, "Well, I paid 600 euros and I wanted to learn something about CRO and not drumming." Honestly,
Really?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's
Okay.
just a few
Okay.
people, but that was actually the big discussions we had in the
Okay.
beginning, right? It's not related
Okay.
to our topic and what people paid for. So will they enjoy it and will they accept it? But I mean, finally, I think 90% of people
That's a
had
good thing. I mean,
positive
it's
attitude.
an A B, it was a good A/B test. So I think we have a strong winner here. I think
Yeah.
drums are the winner here
But
with
that's
strong statistical significance.
each year we change something, we improve something. So Growth Marketing Summit today is not the same as it was like 5 years ago. And I think that's one of the key success factors for the event.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and to all those who have joined us today, maybe you want to already type in chat if you can join us on 19th of June, if you already have your ticket for Growth Marketing Summit or not. And then let's get it started to not lose any more time. So I already presented and welcomed Jan and Andre to this web session today. So Jan is Director Europe and Latin America at VWO. Jan, it's really a pleasure for us having you here, as Andre already said. And we want today to discuss with you AI-driven experimentation. So we know that AI is all over the place, right? But the question, or the big question, is how can we use it in CRO experimentation? Does it really have the transformative power or not? So that's a big question, and I'm really looking forward to what you can show us today. Before that, I'd like to give you some housekeeping rules very quick. So please use the chat to ask your questions because it should be a very interactive webinar today. Andre will give all questions that you type in the chat to Jan directly and we can openly discuss. We don't have any surveys today, but you will receive the webinar recording and slides afterwards. So don't worry by taking too many notes, you will get everything afterwards.
Well, we have a very big survey today. We have a very big survey. We bring
Exactly.
some preliminary results of our survey,
That's true.
and Andre and I we're going to walk through it and have a chat around it, and we will share with the audience something that people can later on share their opinions on it with 12, 13 questions. It takes only a few minutes, and as a little thank you, we also give away a 300 euro Amazon voucher because it takes 3 minutes and time is money. So yeah, thank you, Julia. That is
just
your
the
part.
hint that yeah, if people don't have their ticket yet for Growth Marketing Summit, you still
I have my ticket. I have my ticket.
And
I didn't get. I'm not sure if I got a 100 euro discount on that one, but
but you're
that's good.
giving a 100 discount. Yeah, so a few tickets
okay.
and 2 weeks left.
And
Okay.
I know you have some ideas prepared, and I'm happy to have your slides now. But I like to start with a hypothesis. Now we can continue if you like. I'd like to start with a hypothesis about AI. You know, Julia, you said it, that everybody is still yeah, that AI is still like topic number one. I won't agree anymore. Maybe it's like 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago. I think it changed that people maybe have like an AI fatigue because everybody was talking about it all the time, and we had very few applicable use cases. So there's a big delivery gap between talking about AI and hyping AI and the question, what does it actually do for me? So I'm more than happy, Jan, that you will try to close this gap with something you prepared, also a questionnaire, and we will go through this. Because yeah, I just want to acknowledge people
Yeah,
want
totally aligned
applicable
with you.
AI, right?
Yeah, when our CEO came up with okay, when we discussed with him, okay, what's going to be our main subject when we go to the Growth Marketing Summit, and it came up, yeah, we should definitely talk about all the full potential of AI and so on. So there were a lot of people in our room as well. We said, oh my God, again, do we have to do this? Is that our point? Or so what we did is in that very meeting, we decided a couple of interesting things. So, well, first of all, before we go into this particular survey I was mentioning, we asked ourselves how people are actually responding. How are we responding when we face such kind of disruptive innovations? And we looked around and we found something pretty interesting. It's from the year I was born, 1961. And we hear this.
First of all, there's computers are taking over now. Computers and automation. And in the year 2000, there just won't be enough jobs to go around. And the only jobs there will be for people with high HQ, you know, high IQ, who can work computers and such things. And other people are just not going to have jobs. There just aren't going to be jobs for them to have.
All right, so here's the good news. Let me just
First of all,
to get to the next one. So good news is that robots did not take over. We survived year 2000 without losing our job. So we must be pretty good at computers, as the young girl told us. And but we hear similar voices up here and there about it. So when ChatGPT came up, and so there was a lot of risk involved and stuff, and so on, and wild fantasies came across. So how are we really responding to AI that in some parts has become part in our lives? And instead of pretending to be the super experts, once again, we said we have a really big community of true experts across the world. So we asked a couple of thousands of them, stakeholders in CRO, stakeholders in experimentation, or in general in e-commerce. And we asked them, we reached out to them. And I was really amazed that we got a lot of feedback, more than I expected, because I thought, well, that has been asked a lot of times and so on and so forth. And so we've got in less than 10 days, we received 500 responses. And that was, so it's on top of mind of a lot of people, actually. And what we did is we presented 12 statements with a Likert scale, where everyone who took the survey could say, I strongly agree, I strongly disagree, which is a 1, I disagree, which would be 2, I rather neither agree nor disagree, which is a 3, neutral, I do agree, which is 4, and I strongly agree, which is 5. Now, these were 12 statements that we asked to the audience. And let's go with the first one, because it already gives us an interesting message. So we said the further development of AI-supported tools will threaten the business of service providers, agencies, consulting companies, like Konversionskraft.
Like me,
right?
are you trying to take my job?
Exactly. So we want to see, what do people think will the future of Konversionskraft and similar companies look like? Now, average rating was 3.1. In other words, there wasn't a clear opinion. If you look, so there are people think that, nah, this won't happen. So there is something, it's right in the middle. So it's not a clear decision on that. But the interesting part comes now with a following question. The following question we asked a little bit differently and more in a positive way. Is that service providers that do use tools with AI support will offer more value to customers, will offer their customers more value and achieve competitive advantages. Now, here, the picture is completely different. So strongly agree. So they almost everyone is in line with that particular statement. So if we take these two questions together, then that's, at least, Andre, it's my way of reading it. It's, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen, but one thing is for sure. If you use certain tools smartly, tools that use the capacity of AI, you might be able to develop some, will offer more value, be faster, be more efficient, and achieve a competitive advantage.
Yes.
What's your view on that, Andre?
I agree, not only from an AI perspective, but in general, I've seen now nearly 15 years of CRO experimentation A/B testing. And of course, our service offer has matured. So I think back in 2010, we were kind of the only ones in Germany who offered what today is kind of a commodity. So there's always a market pressure to be more efficient. Everything was manual work back in 2010. Today it's highly automated, and this automation gives like margin for our companies to exist, right? So sure, AI is a game changer, and that's how I see it. With the first question you've asked, if you don't adapt, you won't be able to make a competitive offer at all. So
Yeah,
a lot of manual work. For example, we offer our clients many user research services, interviews, and it's amazing to see how you can reach, I'd say, like a 80% validity of the results that you gain with market research that needs a couple of days as effort and several thousand euros as cost. You kind of get a similar impression by using an AI tool or different AI tools. It's not as detailed, it's not as good. It's like 80% of the quality, but that's what in disruptive theory is called good enough quality. So
yeah,
will I be willing to pay 10 times more or 100 times more to change it from 80% quality to 100% quality? That's the race we are in.
yeah. Right. So I totally agree. We do recognize that it is important. This is kind of, let's say, there's a little contradiction in all this, because on one hand we feel that well, it's not going to be so disruptive as everybody said, and we don't see the practical use cases in our everyday's life. But at the other thing, in the bottom line, we say, okay,
yeah.
there is stuff. There is
Well,
stuff
that's a
going
characteristic of every disruption, that at the beginning it's hardly visible. And
Yeah.
especially established players will say, well, but that's not enough quality, right? And they will ignore
exactly.
it. They will laugh about it. They will ignore it, and then it's too late. So that's a characteristic of disruption all the time. So I think we see enough symptoms on the surface of AI that we can, of course, categorize it as a disruptive threat to the ones that do not adapt. And that's not, the only thing I would, a question for your, like for the content of your question, is, does it only affect service providers, agencies, and consultancies? I think it's the same game for every in-house team. They also produce cost and need efficiency and need to fulfill goals and deliver results. So doesn't matter if it's internal or external, I think.
That's true. That's true. So we didn't bring all, I mean, just for the record, we didn't bring all the results because we want to leave a lot of results also for the 19th of June when we all meet in Frankfurt, and fingers crossed, really hope that we're going to have a chance to show the results on stage. We the most interesting question was the last one in our survey, which was trying to find where exactly in the optimization game do people expect most impact, expect or hope for. This depends a little bit on the angle. So what we found there is pretty interesting. We found strong two. We put all the usual areas there, and we saw that 2 points were actually clearly leading where people are expecting this. So, and the winner is user behavior analysis. So understanding better what's going on. That was kind of a surprise. I thought more about more pragmatic things, that it's easier to code experiments, or that it's easier to analyze test results, or to come up with more generative ideas and so on and so forth. So, but clearly leading is analysis of user behavior. And we reached out to a couple of people we knew who responded accordingly. And we spoke a lot about heat maps and about session recordings and about funnel analysis and so on. That is where people really actually hope that there is a big impact, because it's so highly inefficient, it's so time consuming, and you really often miss that game. So I brought one example from how to really make practical use of it. And I promise that we don't want to make a product presentation here, but we're not the only one who's doing similar things there. But it's a good example where we all know heat maps. Heat maps is a hassle, really. The more you look at them, you're gonna have you get eye problems. But now it's pretty easy to quickly get the overall findings, or both the positive things that are embedded there and the negative things. Many of these points people see, some of the experts, but not all of them. We did a couple of tests with experienced optimizers, and they say, oh, that's interesting. So that's one piece of it. But it's even more. You can go deeper.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Why is the screen, the visual, so big if the valuable thing is in the text? Right? That's interpretation.
That's a good
of the screen,
yeah.
huh? So that should be in the center. But I think that's exactly what I criticize about a lot of research that is quantitative, like click maps or also eye tracking analysis. That there is a strong bias from experts who interpret the data. So this can be reduced by using AI tools. No biases from experts.
True. Yeah. And I think we will see that heat maps might even stop being heat maps. Because what do you need a heat map for? Is if you finally ultimately get really quality results and you see that stuff, then you get it served on a plate, both the analytical conclusions and the related recommendations. They're probably going to look at much less colorful screens. So one thing is clear. So the more we spoke about it, and there are some other questions which go into the similar direction, they all confirm that we are going to use AI to find more issues and more relevant issues faster. When I worked at an agency like yours, Andre, we call this technologies which help people find problems, identify problems. We call them so what technology. So what are we going to do with it? So we're going to find more issues, and they all listed. So what exactly are we going to do about it? And I think there is it's an interesting fact that the second biggest point clearly is generating ideas and developing hypotheses based on it. So this being said, more than 50% there is focusing on these pieces, and they are interconnected. So they are interconnected. And yes, there are other pieces here we're going to talk about on Friday in June when we meet in Frankfurt.
2 weeks from now.
Yes, in 2 weeks from only, right? So the important piece is that you come from, let's say, some insights that you generate with or without an AI supporter there, and then smoothly build your hypotheses based on it. And that is actually the generative part that we made use of so that user can actually generate way more hypotheses. Same place, by the way, there is a lot of hypotheses coming up there, which people who are actually doing this job for many years, they see it immediately. But we always had, very often, we saw that many people did not see it, and there's always one or the other that say, "Oh, that's interesting. Let's test it." So yeah. I think we will test more stuff as well.
So I can just to comment this, I completely agree. Why is this 50%? It's such a huge majority of people who see the benefit of AI in this early stage of our work, which you could clearly call discovery, right? Find out about the user, his pains and gains, and yeah, identify the biggest potential to optimize things. I find it amazing that people are so reflected on this big issue, because that's what I see. So many teams don't have access to the voice of customer. They don't have access to proper user research, market research. It's hard to just do a questionnaire, a survey, user interviews, whatever. No budget, no experts, whatever. So how should people? Yeah, no time. My colleagues, Stephanie and Anastasia, they will give a talk about this, that many product teams are doomed because they are just fulfilling delivery without any time or budget for discovery. So of course, it's a big hope that with AI tools we can democratize the access to the voice of the customer, the thoughts of the customer, to understand the behavior of customers, because that's our working mechanism. We influence behavior, therefore we have to understand it. Without budgets, tools, resources, skilled people, we can't do that. So of course, everybody's hoping that AI is now finally solving this riddle. I'm a little bit skeptic. I think the AI only is able to reproduce information, aggregate and reproduce information that already exists on the web. So what about the questions nobody ever asked before? If they're not accessible, no AI tool will be able to give your answers, right? This is not a critique in the capabilities of VWO and what you're trying to do here with AI support. I mean, more in general, right? If I now ask generative AI tools, like, what are the most important questions that customers need to have the answers before they start evaluating a tool, a service, my product, whatever? Quickly, the tools will give me answers. Some of them are just fantasy of the AI tool. Others are not that relevant. And for sure, you can immediately see where this information comes from. So there's still a way to go. But of course, I can understand why this is a big hope of every optimizer.
Yeah, and I think it's like always, garbage in, garbage out, right? So you mentioned it. I mean, yes, it's only somewhere from something the AI has got to learn, and the better the input is, the better the output will be. So of course, we do have some kind of exclusive access to millions of experiments, and we can learn from them. So on our platform, there's so many different things are being tested, and so many conclusions are being developed out of it. So I think it depends on, let's say, and it's not just one AI. It's, as a matter of fact, there are different AIs talking to each other and building this up and so on. But one thing is for sure, I think we feel, and that it gives us a lot of confidence now, that connecting insights and experimentation, so the analytical part and the experimentation part, the combination of it really will create a new level of value. And our conclusion so far, from not only from the questions we just looked at, altogether, listening to the opinions, our conclusion that I take away from today, from what people are saying, is don't glorify it, don't ignore it, use it, test it, and manage it smartly. That is the best you can do. Otherwise, you're going to be, maybe you lose the train, or you're missing out on something, or maybe you are just naively bet on something that is not delivering the results there. But that's basically, it's really exciting. The survey is still on. We actually have the chance to have a look at the other questions now. We're not gonna look at the results now of all the questions. But my idea for today was, since we still have a couple of minutes left, right? So I thought it would be a very interesting idea, and having you here, Andre, to go through some of the questions we haven't touched on yet and have a chat about this. Let me just quickly see where I can ramp up this. Hold on. Where is our... it is here. Wait, I need to copy that link, get it in here, and
first of all,
take
I
it from
think
there.
when people think, will AI take my job? I would say, if your job is based on copy and paste, high chance that it might be taken. So
okay, I assumed your first name is Andre,
yeah.
so we
Yeah.
went there. So very nice to meet you.
Yeah.
It's between one is really totally disagree with what's being said, and 5 is strongly agree. Okay, so let's do it. Okay,
Yes,
so
five.
5. Okay,
5.
yeah,
For sure. So because there's a lot of repetitive work still in what we are doing, and as I said, as long as access to the voice of customer is very cost and causes high cost and is very inefficient. That's a way the AI tools can democratize it.
So
and
next question is, the use of AI supported tools already plays today a vital role in the daily work of CRO.
Yes.
Is that a 4 or a 5, or
I mean,
does it play a vital role in today's daily work of CRO and your team?
It should. So if the question is, should the use of AI?
No, it is not. It already plays.
I think I would say 5, because I try to emphasize what's important here. If it does not play a critical role in your team, in your company, then you're missing a lot of opportunities to create more impact, to be more efficient. So yes, 5.
Okay, I agree. So the most surprising initiative of Sparsh, our CEO, was a couple of weeks back, that when in every interview, when we recruit somebody, whether it's for accounting, whether it's for sales, whether it's for customer support, or it is for another role, it doesn't really matter. We do have a list of questions around AI. So we want to feel that, say, the level of curiosity that people actually bring to the table. So that's what matters.
Exactly. And the expectations are not exaggerated. As I said, people have kind of a fatigue because they're missing, they're lacking insights about, like, what prompt should I use to do what I said, maybe a low quality version of user research, but like as a substitute. I have no budget for user research. What should I do? How could I use it? So
so clearly, you strongly disagree with that.
Yeah,
the expectations.
I disagree. I think you could expect a lot if you know how to use it. That's, for example, at Konversionskraft, the whole team is able to use Gen AI tools for free, and then the premium version. So we have a budget for this, right? So we need to use it. Just play around, ask. I mean, they call it prompt engineering. It's a little bit, that's maybe exaggerated, but play around with different prompts where you ask AI tools, what are the expectations of my customers? What's the customer journey like? What problems do they have? And it's better to have a low quality version of an understanding of your customers than no understanding. And that's what most companies have. 95% of the companies have no understanding.
I had 4 conversations. I picked some of the people who actually strongly agreed to that this is exaggerated. So I wanted to check. There were not too many, but
they maybe never did a meta-analysis of test results.
That probably it's well, what was interesting to see in all 4 conversations, that personal conversations that I had with these people, that they didn't have a clue about, let's say, they were saying it's exaggerated without knowing So it was just guessing. So they were clearly ignoring what was going on. So that's a one.
So, Maren, she just asked a question. Why are answers pre-selected? Because maybe you do it the second time. When I did the survey, there was
I did. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's pre-selected because I didn't find out how in Typeform I can unselect something.
That's usually when you do it, there's nothing pre-selected.
Yeah, no, there's nothing. The last questions there will be not, because it was just I was playing around, like rehearsing.
I have a strong opinion about for
you
all
don't
the
care
answers,
about
so
the
I
white
don't
case.
care.
Okay, so here it is. Using tool for qualitative analysis of user behavior and heat map session recordings becomes way more efficient with new AI supported functions.
So maybe I'm now the devil's advocate. So heat maps are not a qualitative analysis; it's quantitative. It measures how many people click where, so it's clearly quantitative. And I would like to endorse quantitative methods as well, because especially for quantitative methods, it's sometimes hard to analyze them. And that's what AI tools also do. They democratize data knowledge and power. I don't need a Stanford data science whatever thing to do now a proper data analysis. I upload my data to an AI tool and say, please make a cluster analysis, and it just does it. No R, no Python, no data tools needed. So but that's a little detail. But I would say no matter if it's quantitative or qualitative, yes, it becomes dramatically more efficient. Dramatically. And especially if it's data. I mean, think about qualitative questions you ask in a survey. We're not able to ask, like with a free text field, ask 5,000 people, what do you think about our product? And analyze it properly. Now, you can upload your sample of 5,000 things to a Gen AI tool and ask for the analysis and have a high validity
It's
outcome.
Amazing. Yeah, it's really amazing what you can do there. And I was talking to a lot of people around about their first personal experiences at Conversion Boost or at CGEM last year, and they all agree it's so much more efficient. And
that means
in the past it was we had I mean when we ask people in our, let's say, in sales conversations, for instance, are you using a tool that works with enables you to use heat map session recordings, online service, and so on? Yes, we're using a tool. And then the second question then is, how often do you use it? Oh, I can't say. Has been a while. So why is that? Because we don't have the time. But this changes.
That changes things drastically, because now you are able to ask questions in certain methods where before you were restricted by the constraint of your analysis capabilities that don't exist anymore now. And that's a game changer. So, but there's a question from Ferdinand. He asks, how about uploading critical business data? I mean, that's the same when you use Google Docs or just type something into the Google search bar. Every critical data you share, you should be really careful, no matter if it's an AI tool or whatever other tool. Maybe all the tools are now AI tools. More or less, no matter if it's Miro or Google Docs or Microsoft Teams. So that's always an important question. And of course, you can always make contracts with these tool providers, and maybe premium contracts that ensure that your data is protected. Right, so that is the same with you guys from VWO, right? You care a lot about data and privacy. And so on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a matter of trust. You need to really carefully look. I mean, once you contract and use your technology, you need to have a clear understanding of what's going to happen with my data, and what is not going to happen with my data.
And no, it makes no difference if you upload your customer data that is clearly protected by GDPR. If you upload it to a Miro board, you have a free version of Miro with no protection, or if you upload it to OpenAI, doesn't make a difference. You should not upload classified data or GDPR relevant data.
Andrea, this is an interesting question. I'm really curious about what you think about it, because we're giving a lot of 5 and 5 and 5 and so on. Because it's about prioritization. How do we prioritize? We all know the situation, right? So we are in a in a conversion rate optimization program. We've got hundreds of ideas on the table. Many problems can be seen in the journey. Many good ideas or bad ideas come together. Some are being generated under the shower in the morning. Others come from a data review. So there's a lot of stuff on the table. And then we have to find some kind of a framework. And this prioritization, of course, the idea is prioritized to take on this stuff with less effort and the highest impact. So will prioritization get smarter? Will it lead by more smartly prioritizing our experiments to better results?
So with prioritization, we clearly have a garbage in, garbage out problem. So I see so many teams struggling with this because their hypothesis backlogs or lists are full with ideas, hundreds sometimes, all on a granularity where they don't see the big patterns anymore. So you could say this is the constraint that you have maybe two ideas on a granularity that is too small. So you should first of all think about, well, that's maybe an issue where AI tools could help me, because it's something where you have to find the pattern. What does prioritization mean? You are searching for the things that have the biggest impact with the lowest effort. It's as easy as that. Every business prioritization depends on impact and effort. So the question is, how can we anticipate impact? And clearly, the highest impact is in the fields or potentials. We call it levers, growth levers, where your customers care a lot about. So something where they expect something and it's important to them, and you deliver lousily. So you could say the delivery gap is the biggest here. Well, this will create the highest impact for you, for sure, closing this gap. So how could you understand where this delivery gap is? And that's the riddle. Many teams struggle with the wrong granularity of their insights, so they don't find it. And for sure, I would say AI tools could help here, find the pattern, better understanding users, and maybe even finding these kind of levers of growth. I'm not as confident to give a 5 here. I would say maybe a 4. Yeah, I don't know. It's not because it was pre-selected. It's because still AI tools don't have every information to find the biggest delivery gap.
Okay, great. Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's probably what we're going to see. The use of that question is the use of AI-powered tools will help to generate more output. So here we're talking about quantity. I remember that 3 years ago when I joined VWO, one of the first small research projects we did, we tried to find a pattern. What are the most successful, impactful CRO programs across our 2,500 active customers there? So we tried to find what is the pattern? What do they have in common? The overperforming CRO initiatives. And there was clearly one part, which was the number of experiments that had a huge impact on the leverage. So these were all the overperforming CRO programs, were the ones where they tested everything everywhere all the time, small things, big things, different angles, different areas in the journey, and so on and so forth. But there was a resource problem. So the question is, can we help with having such tools, generate more output, run more experiments, and execute them within the same time frame?
Jan, you're a bad user researcher. You tried to influence me. You tried to influence me with the way you asked the question already. Luckily, I already have a strong opinion about that. So, and I can prove it because just a couple of minutes ago, I gave a comment on LinkedIn that was kind of the similar question. So the business value deliver is still a formula based on velocity, what you call output here, multiplied with impact. So if you try to create a higher output or velocity and you sacrifice the quality of your experiments, meaning impact, the equation of your delivered business value will be 0. But if you're able to keep the quality and the impact and create more output velocity with the same quality, of course, you will increase the business value. There are so many discussions going on about what's more important, impact or velocity. It's ridiculous because it's a formula with two factors. So both equally, if you don't weight the factors, they're equally both important.
So
Yeah,
yes, another
again,
four.
AI tools will help because they're um, uh, yeah, optimizing efficiency, therefore velocity, and they're also possibly optimizing quality with better access to kind of understanding of users and user research. So yeah, there's a high chance that AI powered tools will help to generate more output with the same or better quality and therefore create much more business value.
Okay. Is traffic, let's say the available traffic, not a restrictive
Yes,
element there?
but come to Growth Marketing Summit, listen to Lucas Vermeer, ex-Booking, talking about the risk of doing parallel tests
Yeah.
and how to mitigate these risks. Because of course you can use the same traffic for different experiments. Yeah,
True. Okay. So I'll give it a four. I'll give it a four.
I would say 5.
I'll give it a five. Okay. I'll give it a five. So, okay. So I take away the four here. So just to AI-supported tools for the qualitative analysis of user behavior will also be able to identify more problems in the user journey. I think we already had this, no?
I would say that they will help to create a clearer understanding of the user's reality because it's your job. It's like a mosaic. You put together so many pieces and try to create a picture out of it. And the final picture has a title, User's Reality, right? So of course, again, if we have many different information on data sets and we need to put them together to create one reality, of course, AI tools will help because it's a lot of manual work with data, copy paste work, so to say, on scale. So yes.
Yeah. I
I
think
wouldn't say more problems. I would say they're able to create a better understanding of the user's reality. So this, of course, includes problems. Yeah.
we also tapped in this and found that there are a lot of people who actually agreed or strongly agreed with it. And I had also three conversations a little bit deeper of
Mm-hmm.
people who strongly agreed with that because that was really always very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And what I heard was interesting because it's kind of linked to the personalization piece. So people said when you use qualitative analysis, you have a certain limitation. You can't, let's say, analyze every possible segment in every possible situation, right? Because it's very often it's different. The results that are being delivered are different depending on the one or the other segment, or specific clusters respond differently to a specific situation. And that is something that actually where you can really massively investigate more specific issues for a specific segment in this moment. So there are people who really help to make more out of every experiment, because very often you have a result, it's not really conclusive, so you don't really have the time on to really dive deeper and find really some clusters how they responded, because maybe there was some they were really responding very positively and the others very negatively to your B variant. And that's something that will be created. So we give it a 4 or 5, Andre?
5.
Five. You're a
5.
fiver.
More,
Okay.
more and better understanding. Yeah.
Number 9, using
Yes.
AI, qualitative analysis of user behavior can reveal the most relevant problems in the user experience that have the most substantial negative impact on conversion rates.
Yeah, I think that depends on how good are you in feeding the relevant data to the tools, and how good are you in still call it prompt engineering. Are you asking the tool the right question? Because it's about synthesizing from a data set, which means you have to understand the pattern. As I said, it's like a mosaic. It's many small little stones, gravel, right? And you put it together, then you
Yeah.
see the picture. Of course, you can quickly create the wrong picture or discover the wrong pattern if you don't feed the right data, if you ask the wrong question. So yeah, there is the possibility that some people who are really experienced in collecting the right data, connecting it, and using the tools properly, they will be able to find the relevant problems. Because it's such a high effort, so much manual work with so much data, it's not possible to do it manually. Or it needs expensive experts. So yeah, in the hands of the right people, this will work. This will be like a 5. In the hands
So five,
of
if
unexperienced
you
people, it's a 1. So
exactly, yeah. Okay, so let me give you another five here.
yeah.
Well, that is what I just indicated. So let's see whether you agree to that. So there are so many things
Yeah.
that every single
No,
test result.
no, I won't agree on that. I won't agree on
Oh,
that
that's
because
interesting.
yes, because I've seen thousands of experiments, and you know, sometimes they have results that you never predicted. And on the second look, you look at the experiment, and then you see something that is really human, right? We have research, we create a hypothesis out of it, you know. With AI tools, we might create better hypotheses, but there's still one element where we call it operationalization, or yeah, is that the right word? So we operationalize a hypothesis into a test design, right? We call it a test concept or test plan, whatever. We think if we do this and that, then this and that happens. That's our hypothesis. But to prove it, we need to create a test and design the test. This is still something that is manual work. The capability of AI tools in future, it will be maybe sufficient to do this properly, but a lot of interpretation of data is based on the way you operationalized your hypothesis. And many times
Okay.
you will find out that an error you created is in this operation. Oh, but it's a hard word. In this test concept, right? You made a mistake
Yeah.
in the test concept. Somebody said a bigger picture will lead to high conversion rate. And somebody sacrificed the call to action button. Now it's below the fold. And that's where we say the
That's a
test
good example.
design.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my typical example for my students. That's a typical example of test design skills, right? You did not test it isolated. You enhanced the size of the picture, but you changed some other elements too. And
Yeah.
this is one of the many mistakes you can do with test design. So the question is, today, I can't imagine with the capabilities of AI that they find mistakes like this when interpreting test results, right? Because you have to make the connection between hypothesis, test design, and data. So, um, so here I'm
Okay.
a little bit more skeptical for every
Give it
single
a two.
test. So if you
Learn
say
more.
today AI helps us, I give it a 1 or 2. If you say in future AI will help us, it's getting better exponentially, and it will be in a position where it could do that. And then again, it's brilliant because it will eliminate human biases from these kind of things. So let's stick with a
Okay.
3. Today 1, in future maybe 4
Finally,
or
we
5.
have a three. It's the first three that it says. So, the use of AI in the field of conversion rate optimization will lead to a reduction in jobs. We already discussed this. So
Yeah,
robots will take over.
yeah,
What would be your take on this?
yeah.
Yes?
Yes, yes. I say 4. It's again the time frame. Today there's a lot to do. So the markets are growing and there's more work to do than skilled people. So I won't say it takes jobs on a short term, but on a long term, yeah, sure. Yeah, it will
Okay.
be there to split the difference. Of course, if you project it long term, of course, the question is right. Will it maybe take all the jobs? So
Maybe this question, the following, the use of AI and AI supported platforms will enhance productivity in the field of CRO without reduction of
exactly.
the
On the short
workforce.
term, that's why I said on the short term it's a 1 or 2, because I will agree to this statement on a short term.
Yeah.
Because clearly there's a limitation from the capabilities and still there's a high demand. So this will just lead to more productivity, but you can't continue this game forever. Look at car manufacturing and what happened there, where you needed a plant with 10,000 people. You today have fully automated car manufacturing plants that operate with 100 people, and nobody would have
Okay.
guessed it. And maybe it goes towards zero. Yeah.
So again, just to get it right, it will enhance productivity without reduction of the workforce. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree with that?
On the short term, I strongly agree. On the long term, I strongly don't agree. So you can again give a 3 if you like, or 4. Yeah.
Okay. Now we're back at this. So yeah, that's a delicate question. Further development of tools will threaten the business of service providers, agencies, consulting firms, and so on. Is you or your colleagues, other agencies, the community of agencies as well?
Yeah.
What is the general mood there? Do the agencies see themselves in a shaky position there? So what is the perception? Is there a perception of threat?
I would, again, I would differentiate. You have agencies and consulting here. So if it's about agency, right? Agency comes from ad agency, right? So usually the business model of ad agencies was to be really creative and then have a lot of manual work. So this manual work, this will be taken. So if you're an agency and your business is based on doing stuff, services, then yes, you might be on a bigger threat than maybe consultancies. So I see Konversionskraft as a consultancy. We help companies to implement the right processes, change their culture and mindset to create a high value experimentation program. So this will be threatened later, I think, because again, it's about the capabilities of the tools. What can they influence? Can they influence processes?
Yeah.
Will an AI tool help you to do a proper change management job inside a mid-sized company, right? Or a large
Yeah.
company?
So if we you would say if we take consulting companies like Konversionskraft,
Yeah.
CRO, consultancy,
Yes.
and so on, you do not perceive AI per se as a
As a
threat of
threat.
your
No.
business.
No, it's a
No. Okay.
facilitator of my business, and it helps me to make better offers. Yeah,
We give it a one.
yeah.
We give it a one.
Yeah, if it's short term, I would say, and it's consultancy, I will give a 1. If it's agencies, I would maybe give a 2 or
No, no,
3. And
but
if it's long term,
strike
I would give
through.
a 5.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're talking to the CRO community here, so
Yeah,
rather than go with a one,
yeah.
we're coming to an end. Service providers that use tools with AI support functions will be able to offer the customer. So the competitive advantage, we've already seen the
Mm.
results of it. I think you strongly agree that you can actually have build a competitive
Yes,
advantage, right?
yes. Even today, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this is my favorite question here, and I'm really looking forward to presenting the results, which I will do today. The biggest challenge to unlock AI's
Hmm.
potential is getting people to
Yeah,
explore and unlock this
yeah,
potential in the daily
yeah.
work. So this is, I mean, the biggest challenge is
Yes.
that. Do you agree that
Yeah,
this is the
I
biggest
agree.
challenge?
I agree.
Yeah,
5.
yeah, me too. Me,
5,
me
because
too,
if you
absolutely.
read the book Crossing the Chasm, right? This is about where the terms early adopters and early majority and late majority and that comes from. So you will always have these early adopters and early majority of people who like to try out new stuff. So you will win these people fast, but they're only like a third of all your
Yeah,
workforce. So the
yeah,
tough job and change management and all that stuff comes into place if you need to cross the chasm, right? and
yeah.
reach the late majority and these people that don't like new stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the last one. It's not whether you agree or disagree. So these are the typical
Hmm.
working steps or phases of
Hmm.
optimization cycles, analysis, generating idea. If you would have to pick one, or you would say, where do you see? I mean, you already know the results as well.
Most
Analysis of user
important
behavior
changes.
was the winner of. Do you agree with the
Yeah,
majority, or
I
would you?
understand why most people see the short-term wins here because they're in a painful situation and this might be a solution. Yeah, but where do I expect the most important changes? I would say it's more in the area of data analysis and, like, as I said, creating the big picture. It's not just test results, it's also research and things like that. Oh, this is a tough one. I'd say other.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I have to now
So
find an answer. The biggest changes. All of them. I say all of them. You can't. I mean, you
I
can't
like that one.
prioritize. So it's hard
Okay,
to
no, fair
prioritize.
enough. Yeah.
Has an effect
Okay, I
on
don't
all
need your
the
email
stages.
address. Everybody knows your email address, I think. So,
Yeah.
Andre at andre.com is not your
Oh
email
no,
address, right?
no. Say you could send it to me,
Sure,
please.
yeah, okay, all right. So,
Konversionskraft. Yeah.
is it Andre at Konversionskraft? So you
Konversionskraft.de, and it's andre.morris. Yeah.
so maybe you win
So yeah, please.
300
Yeah.
the 300 euro voucher,
Okay.
and you can buy more books. Okay, so
Great.
this was it. We have 5 minutes to go. I just thank you for so much. I kind of turned it around. But I think it's interesting to see how people respond. I mean, there are so many detailed answers around. We only looked at 2 or 3 today. The other feedback that we received, we're gonna, well, if we are being voted on stage, then we would share the results there, and otherwise on another way. I have one thing that for the audience. It is still there's still, this survey is still open. So would really, Julia, Andre, anyone who wants to participate and share his view and go these 12 questions, please participate, look it up, and yeah, we'll see what comes out when we meet in Frankfurt. I think it's a really interesting. I think altogether, and the human part that was part of the last question, or one of the last questions there, is very important. I think it's a wake-up call for the management. I think that people need to trigger curiosity, and you can't enforce the use of AI on people, but you can encourage people to be curious and try out things. And so we have at VWO, for instance, we do have, it's in our recruitment. We have a competition going on every week of new tools that we find out there for very different things that is being done. And it helps us in so many tiny little ways. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to see what we're gonna say. We have more AI topics at the conference, I think.
I think our task is to like myth busting, right? We have to demystify this big buzzword AI and make it relevant and applicable, and tell people, what prompts should I use? What tools can I use? What's the benefit of VWO's AI capabilities whatsoever? It's everywhere, and we need to make it tangible and applicable. That's our job, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Julia, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Over to you, Julia.
Yeah, these were good closing words. Thanks to both of you. I really enjoyed it, and I hope our attendees did as well. I copied in the link to the survey, so if you want to join, do that. And otherwise, I can only say thank you. Hope to see you on 19th of June in Frankfurt. Please use the 100 euro discount code from VWO. It's VWO, which is quite easy, to buy one of the last tickets. And yeah, see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, Andre and Jan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.